We say even to many people, an apple a day keeps a doctor away. Apple is tremendous tree in Ethiopia. በየቀኑ አንድ apple ለተሻለ ጤንነት. That means having an apple a day for a better life. God gave a vision of apples to share to the people. So they started as an apple orchard center and started to give to the people and started to find, apple markets in the town. And that's the way how we became, apple sellers. Now we are really producing many, many apples. ስሜ አንድነት መዓዛ ዘለቀ ይባላል። እኔም ተስፋን አካፍላችኋለሁ። I am Andinet Meaza ዘለቀ and I share hope.
Welcome to I Share Hope, the podcast where world leaders share their real stories of hope and how you can use actionable hope to start changing your life today. And now, here's your host, Chris Williams.
Hey man, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So I'm Chris Williams. You tell me how to pronounce your name.
Andinet.
Andinet. Is it with it Andinet or Andinet?
Say it again.
Andinet.
That's right.
Great. So you are you're the genius apple orchard guy, right?
Who did say that to you?
Ed Gillentine said that to me. He said, "This guy's amazing. He can grow anything."
We have one Amharic who was saying Rabash, which means a problem maker. So Ed Gillentine is really a problem maker.
I would totally have to agree with that. No, Ed and I have been best friends for years and years. He's a great guy.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So nice to meet you.
Good to meet you as well. So how in the world did you get connected to all of this this is not part of the interview, I'm just curious. How did you get connected to Ed and I guess John Ozier and a couple of those guys?
Yeah, these guys, they are really wonderful guys and my friends. My older brother called Nega.
Yeah.
He works with street children here in Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think you may know him, Joseph Bridge. He's from US.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so, and the other guy, I think his name is Mikal. I don't know his family name, but so they both came as short-time missionaries from the state, and they met my brother Nega working down in one of the provinces in Ethiopia. So he took them, the missionaries, to show a place called where nomads live.
Mm-hmm.
So then they became friends when they stayed 2 weeks down, and then they started, they got a vision just to work on street children because Nega, my older brother, was a coordinator for children and youth ministry in the church.
Okay.
So I think then they become friends. They started working on children. So these two guys, John and Ed, they just came as, I don't know what you call it, as a team to visit this children ministry in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Then they got a vision to work on apple orchards, and they finally found me that Nega's brother is the one who is making market with apples.
That's great. So were you already selling the apples or getting them and supplying them to markets?
What we do is now, and normally I'm not personally, myself, I don't do it, but with the cooperatives, the cooperatives collect from the farmers and we just sell the apples for the cooperatives.
Okay, that makes sense. So where have you gotten the apples in the past?
Sorry, say it again.
Oh, where have you gotten the apples from in the past?
Normally from the farmers in Chencha where I grew up.
Okay.
Oh, from the very beginning apples?
Yeah, so before you were growing them, or I guess they're not even growing them yet. I mean, you guys don't even have apple crop yet. So where do you get them today? Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay, by the way? Is it too quiet?
Yes, it's okay for me. It's okay.
Okay, so should I turn it up some more, or you can hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. You're coming in loud and clear. Yeah.
Okay. So, from the very beginning, from Europe, I think that from Europe, missionaries brought apples, and in Chencha, church leaders, they started to grow. and they distribute it for farmers. So I think I would say we are the only ones who produce apple in Ethiopia, in
Wow,
Chencha.
that's amazing.
Yeah, that makes it really special with apples in Ethiopia.
Yeah, it does. I'm glad you're doing it. That's great, man. Well, let me tell
Yeah,
you. Let me
yeah.
tell you how this interview works. These are really, really fun. And
Okay.
do you have an iTunes account or Stitcher? Do you listen to any kind of audio podcast or audio interviews over there?
Yeah, maybe not normally, but I hear in some, maybe it's the same or not, but we did, Jesus film recording, you know that?
Mm-hmm. I've heard of it.
So, yeah, I did that one in different languages because I coordinate Bible translation organization. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. The whole thing?
Yeah. Yeah,
Whoa.
we do even, yeah, recording the whole Bible, New Testament, Jesus film, everything. So, yeah.
Amazing. I'm
Yeah.
impressed. Well, here's how this works, and I'm going to try to figure out how to get this to you. So do you have a phone or an MP3 player or some kind of device that you play music on? Do people around there have those kind of things? Are they playing music on their phones or their headphones? I mean, what do they do?
Yeah. We do have that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, over here, and then there's several places. These are big in the world where people will listen to not just music on their device, but they're actually listening to a um, a recorded interview or audio. Like if they're going for news, they could be listening to news, like world news. It might be, or they're listening to stories or whatever it could be, but they're listening to it on their device, on their phone. And so this is what this interview gets turned into. It gets turned into a podcast. Are you familiar with the podcast term?
Not really, but
Okay.
I can understand you.
Okay, so podcast, it would be like a TV broadcast or radio broadcast, except for they say podcast because people usually put them on their iPods or their phone, their MP3 player, whatever it is they hold their music on digitally. And it's a voice recording of news or stories or whatever, and you just download them and listen to them just like you would music. It's just you pick a certain topic that you want to learn about, and that's what you listen to.
I understand.
Okay, so that's what this is. The I Share Hope project
Okay.
has turned into a podcast, and originally the I Share Hope project was just it was just me trying to build more hope in my own life because I'd come through some really dark stuff as a kid, like many people have, and I know my story is not the worst in the world out there. It was the way it was impacting me, and I needed to build hope back in my life. So I started reaching out to people around the world that I could talk to that had a lot of hope and that I could learn how to have hope from. And then what I started learning, people started saying, you need to share this. You need to let other people see what you're learning. So I started recording them and sharing them online. And now it's in over 15 countries in 8 different languages. Can't believe it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, isn't that amazing? And all I do is record and ask questions of people like you, and then we put it on the podcast, and I just release it. And I don't know how it gets everywhere else, but people share it all over the place.
Oh, really wonderful that. I think if you're working in 50 languages or if in
No,
50 countries, why don't you come to Ethiopia and work on it?
well, it's
In America?
15 countries, 15 countries.
Oh, one. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Oh, no,
great, great. I
maybe
thought
50
it's five.
countries, sometime. So So I would love for this to be in Ethiopia as well. I don't do any translating and I don't do any of the sending it to all the different countries. I just simply upload it to iTunes and
Okay.
and then a place called Stitcher and iTunes, and then people just go and download it there and they share it with whoever they want to, which is great. They're welcome to share it with anybody. It's free.
Oh, great, great.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So here's how this works. We ask. I'll send you the link since you haven't heard any of these before. You'll love it. There's some really great people that have told stories before you, and I ask the same 5 questions to every person. The questions that you got there on the download, yeah. So I ask those 5 questions. You answer them however you want, and And that's just all there is to it. This is really meant to be story and your life, not just about an organization. Obviously, in question number 4, it's asking how are you sharing hope today, and that may be very pointed to an organization you're serving with or just you personally. But this is really about you personally. It's not meant to be an interview about an organization.
Yeah, I
Because
understand you.
yeah, as you know in your own life and my life too, we connect to people who tell stories about themselves, and I can relate to you, not just relate to whatever company you work for or organization you work with. You know. You still there?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. So you ready to jump in?
Yeah, I'm ready. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So question number 1 is, what is your favorite quote about hope, or your favorite comment or statement about hope? How do you describe hope?
Yeah, hope is a big issue in human life, and I will say, from my perspective, hope is, expecting good to happen to you.
Hmm.
Just looking a bright future, a bright, beautiful thing to happen, or I would say in other ways, dreaming good things to happen in your life. Yeah.
Is there a word for hope in your native language? What language do you speak natively?
My native language is the national language is Amharic, which the word which we have for hope is tasfa.
Okay. And
And in my native language in Gamo, in my mother tongue is it's ufaisa.
Ufaisa. And what would
Yeah.
you say that word means in your native mother tongue?
Um, you know, just in English or in my native
You
language.
can, yeah, you can translate it to English so I can understand. But how would you explain that word if you were trying to, the word that you grew up saying, if you grew up saying that word, how would you explain it to me?
I will explain, as I said it briefly to you, when we Ethiopians, when we say tasfa, which means hope in English, is, ahead of you, you are expecting something which is good to happen to you. That, or in another way, if you lose something, you think that I will get something, expecting something to you. And that should not be negative. If it's negative, we don't say it's hope, but it's positive. And if it's good and what you desire, then you say, that's my hope. That's my test.
Hey, that,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. That's good. That's great. So, question number 2: who's been a person in your life that shared a lot of hope with you in the past? Who's given you hope? Is it a family member, somebody you worked with, somebody in a community, somebody you've never met before? Who's given you a lot of hope?
For me, I would say maybe it's difficult to say specifically to this point, but I would say different people. Since I'm a Christian, a Christian guy, grew up in Christian family. Uh, I would say number one is Jesus. For me, Jesus is really, he's the one who always, makes to be full of hope.
Hmm.
And in other way, I would say most of the time when I read the Bible, I get really hope. And certainly, I would say some friends and some people in history, they are really just examples to me, just to have hope in my life. And I would say my mom and my dad too, because they are not from Christian family, but they grew up in a Christian family. And when I hear their history, what happened to them in their lives, I see that really this makes to be hopeful in my life too. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So repeat that one more time. It cut out a little bit. So your parents, when you see their history and what happened in their life, then what'd you say?
Yeah, 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 yeah. When they tell us as a son or as a child, we really get hope that something happened in their life makes us to be hopeful. Did you get me?
Hmm. Yeah, that does
Yeah,
make sense.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it really does. So tell me number 3, and this is a great great stories. Thank you, Andinet, for giving us your time. And I'm really
Yeah.
curious about your place in the world, because we all come from very different locations and different circumstances and different geographic locations. You're in Ethiopia, so a very different world than I grew up in, I'm sure, and a
Yeah.
different world than our listeners in the United Kingdom and our listeners in the Philippines and in Saudi Arabia, I'm sure, have a very different story as well. But
Oh,
so tell me, when you were growing up or in your past, when is a time when you really had to lean on hope and really believe this is going to get better because things might have been really hard? Have you had any times like that?
as you have said, since you are living in Africa, just you have a great question of, can I really have hope to be a rich guy, or I hope to be, goes from the box of poverty. Yeah. So to me, because I just grew up in a middle class, not in the context of the state, but in Ethiopia, sometimes you see that people really seems that they are really tied with poverty until their death. So many times it makes a question to me in my life, and I said, really, can I be out of poverty in my life? But thanks to God now, I'm really pushing ahead and trying to get, hope. Sometimes, once I remember a family issue, my older brother and my dad, they fought with one guy and they just put them in prison. And this first time that really I lost my hope, thinking that my dad and my brother will stay many years in prison. But finally, thanks to God, that really, God intervened in the issue, and my dad and my older brothers, they didn't stay longer in prison, but they came out of prison maybe in 10 days. So the intervention of God I have seen in my life. Sometimes even in my real life, sometimes I dream something and just I plan something and I say, just I try to do on it, but sometimes you just see that the hope is breaking down.
Mm-hmm.
So I will just take time and think of that. And I see that maybe after 2 days or after weeks or months, it becomes real and happens in your life. So I would say there are different situations in life.
Yeah, there are. And I think you're making a good point. Some things happen to other people around us, our family members or people we care about, that we can't control, that we hope will get better, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And then there's things that happen that we dream about and hope that will happen, but it just doesn't seem to happen the way we think it's going to, or fast enough. Um, or yeah, so that makes sense. Are there situations in your country? Since we're doing these interviews literally all over the world, we're trying to make sure we have a pretty accurate cross section of global society. What are the things in Ethiopia that are causing people to be hopeless, or what are people hoping in your area?
Uh, right now, right now, election is coming in Ethiopia, maybe after 3 or 2 months.
Hey,
To me, I was
Andinet, I'm going to turn the video off for a second, just because I
okay.
think it's slowing down our communication, like it's slowing down the internet speed,
Okay,
and
that's fine.
that may make it
Okay,
where you can talk a little. Yeah, I
yeah,
think we'll be able to get better audio quality. So,
yeah,
all right, go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry. So
yeah.
I was asking you, how about in Ethiopia, around in your communities, what are people hoping in? What does the future look like? Are they optimistic, or are they thinking things are going to get worse, better? How does that work over there?
Yeah, that's a big question, really interesting. Why I think as a country, we sometimes it seems to me that we may lose, our hope because of the political issues, what is going on in the government area.
Hmm.
We say that they say many things, they give you many promises, but you don't see what is going on. And sometimes you see bribe is really taking a great place in the country, and the tribe issues, conflicts between tribes. Actually, normally not as a fighting, taking a gun, but some economical conflicts going on. So as a country, sometimes I would say many people, I think they lose their hope. They say maybe there will not be a change.
Yeah. Has this been going on for generations where there's no real sign of it changing or no history of it changing?
Yeah, but we see a changing takes place, but as it's not as we expected, but for the Christians and for some people, I think I would say we see hope because we depend on God, and we really see from the church side, we see really a great change. The church is contributing to change the country.
Wow. That's great. I'm glad you're able to bring some hope there. That's great. Are there
Yeah.
a lot of groups like this around that are bringing hope into communities? Maybe not from the government, but from just the people?
Yeah, really, for sure. For example, my brother's organization, Anasmus, or people like, the missionaries, they're really bringing a change because you see, in politics, you can't get the real life or the reality, the truth. But when you come to the church and to the organizations like non-governmental organization, they are really changing. I would mention now, even Apple projects in Chencha, they are really changing the living system, the economic system, and the financial system of the people. So
And
we
that
see
was,
that.
you're mentioning the Apple project there. So let's jump into question 4. So how are you using hope today? What are you doing in your community to bring hope to people around you?
I would say the best thing in my community, even culturally acceptable, is that to share your experience, life experience, not the people and other people's. I would say, for example, if you say some people who were really, really lost their hope but got their hope after a while, then if you share that one, and if, for example, let me say to my one of my friends or to other friends, I would say, take me for example. I was in such situation. Now I was in such difficulties, but look me today, you know because I pressed on and I worked on it, I did get success. So if you share your life experience and others' life experience, then they will really more hopeful. So I will say just by being a friend of people to help them.
Wow, that's a great point. Sharing your life experience and where you come from yourself.
Yeah.
And that is what this project has become, and it's helping me an enormous amount. And just hearing somebody like you talk who's got a lot of life experience that I don't have with things that I'll probably never experience is really helpful because if you get really down and you're hopeless sometimes, you wonder, is there anything there that I can really hang on to? Or you wonder, if I am holding on to something and hoping for something that can happen in the future, am I just doing that in my own little world and something that really wouldn't last? But getting outside of our own community, our own experience, to places that other humans are experiencing really helps us know what is it that works for all humanity, not just my little pocket of humanity here in my town.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned apples a minute ago, and I want to go back to that. So you're sharing hope, I know, in a way that's really unique in Ethiopia. So tell me a
Yeah.
little about the apple orchard and how you got into it. What are you doing?
Yeah, apple is a tremendous tree in Ethiopia. You know, we say even to many people, an apple a day keeps a doctor away. And that's really making a great change. I would say that in Amharic, just it says, በየቀኑ አንድ apple ለተሻለ ጤንነት. That means having an apple a day for a better life or a better health, we said. So, as I said, yeah, it's because of the church. The church has a development wing to work on it besides the spiritual work. So the church prayed on the issue and God gave a vision of apples to share to the people, to the non-believers, to believers. So they started as, apple orchard center and started to share, to give to the people. and started to find, apple markets in the town, especially with the missionaries from outside, especially a German guy. He really helped us a lot, and that's the way how we became, apple sellers. Now we are really producing many apples.
So you got a vision or a direction that you wanted to go to in your community that would let you provide apples, health, food. There's financial provision there as well because people can buy them and sell them. There's a market made there. And you're able to bring in a product from the outside that wasn't grown in your area, and now you're building a farm, literally. Is that right?
Yeah.
Huh. So you can offer jobs, you can offer food, and this is not just people in the church, this is anybody in the community. And it sounds like people from Germany and America,
Yeah.
I'm sure other places as well, are involved in this, right?
Yes, definitely, 100%. It's not it's basically church based, but now it's exploring to even to the whole community, even to the whole country, even the government now is clearly, and we are distributing. I would say maybe let me think. It's about 10 years ago we distributed more than 100,000 apple seedlings all over Ethiopia. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And the government's involved with you as well. They're supporting it, and one of your partners,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. That's why the government organizes in cooperatives so that we can, just an easy market, just for the farmers and the believers.
Hmm. That's really great. I think it's great that you can even bring um, the communities that believe differently, and
Yeah.
sometimes we believe differently than our governments, and that's true in every country of the world. But there are some things in governments that are bad and corrupt. Some go more than others,
Yeah.
but there are a lot of good things that come from government as well. And
Mhm.
it's great to see somebody like
Yeah.
you who's able to actually connect to the community and to the
Mhm.
government and to different belief systems, and share that way. That's great.
Yeah. Yes. Great.
I'm impressed. So, Andinet, how would you tell listeners? How would you tell me if I'm struggling with hope and I need to grow in hope and pursue something that's more positive for my life or my community? What simple steps would you give me? What would you say I should do first? How would I start?
It's a big point you raised here is, I would say, before you share to somebody hope, you have to be a man of hope. Did you get me?
So before I can share hope, I have to be a man of hope.
Yeah, you have to have you the one who shares hope must be a man who has hope in himself. If not, you can't, share hope to me. So as I said before, being a friend with somebody, with your neighbor or in local in marketplace, just be a friend on the way, on bus, everything. If you just become a friend, then you can just tell him many things about hope. So to me, the first step to begin was just have intimate or close relationship with some guy, and you have to be a hopeful man to give some hope for others.
I think that makes a lot of sense. So you have to be a man of hope or woman of hope yourself. You have to have hope inside you to begin with.
Yeah.
And then to share it, you have to become friends with somebody. And I think
Yes.
that's so important because so many people try to just go out and tell another person what they should do, but they
Yeah.
might not have a friendship or relationship with that person.
Yeah.
They just want to tell them something. But you have to be friends, an intimate relationship first. That's a great point.
Can I raise a point here?
Yes.
Because I worked in a small business like a mini market here in the capital, Addis. Many people they come to me and they try to, consult me about business, small business. And the good thing I have seen in my life is that I don't just go and tell the theory of business, but just I give them two or three examples in my life to show them that there is challenge in business, to show them that there is hope in business. So when you just tell them that the way you crossed or passed through, they really understand and they really get hope that they will be, profitable and successful in their businesses. So especially in our culture in Ethiopia, if just you are an example to people, people really get excited of you and they follow your steps. That's why I say, if you are doing something what you say, the people follow you. If you are a man of or a woman of hope, then people will follow your step and become a man or woman of hope.
Andinet, you are a great man of hope. I'm really privileged to talk to you. Tell me the things that you're doing there right now. You're talking a lot about hope, and you're seeing it start to take shape in your life and your family's life. So, I ask this every time we get done, do you listen to music? Is there something that you love to play and listen to when you're thinking through, I need to just feel a little better today. I gotta play something that makes me smile.
Yeah, as the Christians, we only listen in Ethiopia Christian musics, Christian songs, and
And are there a lot of those translated or that y'all have created yourself in your own churches, or how do you find those?
in the church, some musicians, Christian musicians, they just made produce Christian music, so we sing it in churches everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So always I listen to that. Even it's really touched my heart.
That's great.
Yeah.
That really is great. Do you have a favorite artist that you listen to over there? A favorite Christian producer who's making the music you want to listen to?
Yeah, she's right now. She's living in States, and her name is. She's a Christian lady. She's Lily or Kalkidan.
I'm gonna try that. Lili or Kankidan?
Kalkidan, yeah,
Alkidan.
Kalkidan. Yeah, so she's my favorite Christian singer, and many songs really touched my heart. Especially, I would say, can I sing that one?
Yes.
ምንድነው ደስ የሚለኝ ልብን ደስታ የሞላው ምንድነው ደስ የሚለኝ ልብን ደስታ የሞላው የእግዚአብሔር ልጅ ስላለኝ ነዋ ኢየሱሴ ስላለኝ ነዋ ኢየሱሴ ስላለኝ ነዋ የእግዚአብሔር ልጅ ስላለኝ ነዋ ስኖር ሳለው በዚች ዓለም ምንም ነገር ብርቅ አይደለም. It goes like this, I will interpret for you. What makes me rejoiceful man, what makes me hopeful man, that's because I have Jesus, the Son of God. So nothing amazes me in the world. That's just only Jesus. That's the main message.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for singing. You have a beautiful voice, great voice, and thank you for the hopeful message in it as well. That's really great.
Yeah.
So, man, you should start touring in a group somewhere. I think if the apples don't work out, you got a second career there. I'm impressed.
Great.
Andinet, I love it. You've been fun to talk to and so great to see a piece of your world and your hope. Thank you for sharing hope with me and so many others today.
Yeah, Chris, I will say as a Christian brother, thank you very much for wonderful work you are doing. And I really appreciate your work and I really loved to have contact with you. And one day I hope that we will see each other,
I hope so too.
physically. We will play, and you for sure you will come to Ethiopia one day with Air and other people, and you will see amazing things in Ethiopia here.
I would love to do that, and I sure hope you get to make it to the U.S. as well, because there's a few amazing things over here to see that I could show you.
That's I hope.
Okay. All right, and Andinet, thank you. And tell me one or two other things now. We have every guest say at the end of the interview or at the beginning, my name is Andinet. So you'd say your full name, and I share hope. So I would say, my name is Chris Williams, and I share hope. So you say it with your name in English, and then let's do it. Take a breath, and then let's do it in your native tongue.
Yeah. I am Andinet Meaza Zelleke, and I share hope. ስሜ አንድነት መዓዛ ዘለቀ ይባላል። እኔም ተስፋን አካፍላችኋለሁ።
That's great, man. Fantastic. So I love it. So you speak three languages then. You've got your mother
Yeah,
tongue, so what you were born in your home language, and then you've got the native national tongue, and then English,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Right, that's right.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I struggle with English. I can hardly get that out some days.
No, I don't think so. You're perfect.
Oh boy, this is good. Thank you, sir. And I need, before we hang up, if you can, well, two more questions. One is simple. Can you send me a picture of yourself that I can put on our website when we put the audio out there? We always connect
Yeah,
it to our website so people can see who's talking. So
I
just
will. Okay, I will do that.
you can use the one here on Skype. You can anything you want. Doesn't matter to me. Just send me a picture of yourself. Second question is there anything in the interview that you shared that you would like me to cut out? Because particularly political issues, there's some countries we talk to that they have a lot of security problems.
Uh-huh.
Is there anything that would be not good for me to keep in this interview?
I don't think so, but as you said, if it's political, it's really sensitive, you can take away that one.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
take
okay
it.
with it.
Okay, I'll take away the political comments, and I'll. How about if I leave my comments in there about how you're connecting with the government because that's a good thing? Is that good?
Yeah,
Okay. Um, all right, sounds good. I want to make sure that it's safe for you. Okay, and then I will probably run this interview by Ed as well, just to make sure that he doesn't see anything there that would be negative for you there locally. Is that a good idea?
yeah,
Okay.
really, I'm
O-
okay with that.
Okay. I don't want any trouble for you. And your comments about being a Christian, is that okay? There's nobody that's going to persecute you for those comments?
Yeah, it's okay with me.
Okay. I
No,
just,
no.
okay.
Yeah,
Well, some countries, you go to jail for saying that in some countries.
I understand you.
Yeah, I don't
Understand you.
want you going to jail. You got to keep making apples.
Thank you very
Okay. And then, how would I best introduce you? At the beginning of the show, I want to put a little introduction for you. How would I best introduce you? If I said something like, Andinet is a friend and somebody who's in Ethiopia. He's doing a lot of great work. He's an entrepreneur. He's growing apples, bringing a new crop and a new process to the Ethiopian world. He's partnered with the government and with local communities, different religions, and he's put in place many things from an entrepreneurial standpoint and an agricultural standpoint that are bringing hope to a lot of people in Ethiopia. So, Andinet, I'd like to hear a little more about you.
Yeah, that's it. What you have said is more than I can say. That's really wonderful, and
Okay.
it relates my work right now. So I'm really happy with it. What you have said.
Okay, good. I'll put that in there then. And so, okay, so when we hang up, send me an email real quick with a picture of you so I can get that all completed, and I will look forward to doing this. And then is there any social media, Twitter, Facebook, a website? Is there anything you use that people would want to follow you at, or would you prefer not to share that?
I do have a
Okay.
Facebook, and people can even use my email.
All right.
Yeah,
Would you put your email and your Facebook link in the email that you're going to send me with your photo?
I will do that. I
Okay.
will do that.
Great. And Annette, this has been
Yeah.
a privilege. It's fun to talk to you, and I really do hope we get to meet someday. I think we will. There's enough connections between our two little worlds that we both live in that we know enough people that are the same that we should be able to get this figured out sometime.
Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Good talking to you.
Yeah, good talking to you too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye bye.
You've just listened to I Share Hope. If you're ready to make a change, head to our website at isharehope.com and claim your free copy of the top 10 actions of hope from world leaders to use hope in your own life. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Friends, we started working on children. So these two guys, John and Ed, they just came as, how, I don't know what you call it, as a team to visit this children ministry in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Then they got a vision or to work on apple orchards, and they finally found me that Nega's brother is the one who is making market with apples.
That's great.
So
So
yeah,
were
so
you already selling the apples or getting them and supplying them to markets?
what we do is now, and normally I'm not personally, I myself, I don't do it, but with the cooperatives, Just the cooperatives collect from the farmers, and we just sell the apples for the cooperatives.
Okay, that makes sense. So where have you gotten the apples in the past?
Sorry, say it again.
Oh, where have you gotten the apples from in the past?
Normally from the farmers in Chincha, where I grew up.
Okay.
Oh, from the very beginning, apples.
Yeah.
Niru.
Oh, so I'm Chris Williams. You tell me how to pronounce your name.
Andinet.
Andinet. Is it with it Andinet or Andinet?
Say it again.
Andinet.
That's right.
Great. So you are you're the genius apple orchard guy, right?
Who did say that to you?
Ed Gillentine said that to me. He said, "This guy's amazing. He can grow anything."
We have one Amharic who was saying Rabash, which means a problem maker. So Ed Gillentine is really a problem maker,
I would totally have to agree with that. No, Ed and I have been best friends for years and years. He's a great guy.
Oh, wonderful. So nice to meet you.
Good to meet you as well. So how in the
Okay.
world did you get connected to all of this this is not part of the interview. I'm just curious. How did you get connected to Ed and I guess John Ozier and a couple of those guys?
Yeah, these guys, they are really wonderful guys and my friends. My older brother called Nega.
Yeah.
He works with street children here in Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you may know him, Joseph Bridges. He's from US.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So and the other guy, I think his name is Mikal. I don't know his family name, but so they both came as short-time missionaries from state, and they met my brother Nega working down in one of the provinces in Ethiopia. So he took them, the missionaries, to show a place called where nomads live.
Mm-hmm.
So then they became friends when they stayed 2 weeks down. And then they started, they got a vision just to work on street children because Nega, my older brother, was a coordinator for children and youth ministry in the church.
Okay.
So I think then they become...
Yeah, so before you were growing them, or I guess they're not even growing them yet. I mean, you guys don't even have apple crop yet. So where do you get them today? Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay, by the way? Is it too quiet?
Yes, it's okay for me. It's okay.
Okay, so should I turn it up some more, or you can hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. You're coming in loud and clear. Yeah.
Okay. So, from the very beginning, from Europe, I think that from Europe, missionaries brought apples, and in Chincha, church leaders, they started to grow and they distributed for farmers. So I think I would say we are the only ones who produce apple in Ethiopia,
Wow.
in Chincha.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that makes it really special with apples in Ethiopia.
Yeah, it does. I'm glad you're doing it. That's great, man. Well, let me tell you how this interview works. These are really, really fun. And do you have an iTunes account or Stitcher? Do you listen to any kind of audio podcast or audio?
We say even to many people, an apple a day keeps a doctor away. Apple is tremendous tree in Ethiopia. በየቀኑ አንድ apple ለተሻለ ጤንነት. That means having an apple a day for a better life. God gave a vision of apples to share to the people. So they started as an apple orchard center and started to give to the people and started to find, apple markets in the town. And that's the way how we became, apple sellers. Now we are really producing many, many apples. ስሜ አንድነት መዓዛ ዘለቀ ይባላል። እኔም ተስፋን አካፍላችኋለሁ። I am Andinet Meaza ዘለቀ and I share hope.
Welcome to I Share Hope, the podcast where world leaders share their real stories of hope and how you can use actionable hope to start changing your life today. And now, here's your host, Chris Williams.
Hey, man, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.